It's all about shifting your mindset, shifting your perspective, making sure it's never about you. It's always about him and others. And you'll find yourself in the most blessed place you've ever thought was possible. You can't even describe the blessing of selflessness, because you're not free until you're free from you. In fact, Satan only has the power to work with what you give him. The ruler of this world cometh and has nothing in me, Jesus said. Don't forget, he was selfless. You can just say it's because of his deity, I understand. But the Bible talks about the evil one touching us not. And men that live in sanctification and purity live in this place. It's like Psalms 91. Yeah? Come on. It's really beautiful. He only takes what you give him. He's not just going to come in here and run me over. I'm not being arrogant. He'd have ran me over a long time ago if it wasn't true. He's not just going to run me over while I'm standing here with this microphone. He plays with what you give him. And you give him an inch and he'll try to take a mile. Next thing you know, your heart's hard and you're angry and you wonder how you got there. Next thing you know, you're doing something you knew you'd never do. And all of a sudden you've tailspinned in because you didn't take accountability and guard your heart. And you've allowed something that wasn't the kingdom to have place, and you acted on it. And it snowballed. Next thing you know, you don't even feel like you love God. That's how far it goes with people. I'm telling you, I've been in this thing enough, pastored enough. I'm telling you, I've seen people just go boom when they let one little wrong thing come in. You guard against that stuff. You stay in communion with God. And if you make a little mistake, you'll be so aware of it, so sensitive, and God just keeps you washed and cleansed. And I'm not preaching perfection. I'm preaching purity. The pure in heart shall see God. I'm not talking about perfection. I'm talking about purity and taking accountability for your life and being a sincere Christian that has intimacy and fellowship with God. That's all I'm talking about. You're holy, you're blameless, you're above reproach in his sight. If indeed, if indeed you continue in the faith. In other words, if indeed you continue believing that resume and aren't turned away from the hope in which you heard. It's unfortunate you can attend a church your whole life and never hear this hope. I know you heard this hope in this church. But you could go to church your whole life and never hear this hope. The emphasis is always on sin. The emphasis isn't on righteousness and holy and blameless and above reproach. And when you preach it, people get really freaked out and they think you're being a heretic and all you're doing is reading scripture. It's very important. When I used you as that example and gave that little illustration, that felt good in your heart. You enjoyed that. Yeah, because it's a happy place. Live there. Only ever be found there. It's your place to abide. It's where he paid for you to live.